Going on YouTube, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing mock drafts. I'm going to go over two mock drafts that was done, one by a guy who I absolutely respect his opinion, and obviously he has some very good takes and I feel is very close to the organization and generally is way right more than he is wrong. And then we're going to go over another mock draft by Dane Bruglar's, and for them it's just the two picks, but for Jeff Risdon, it's 3 rounds. Going to go over it. I'm going to give you my thoughts in what I think the Lions are going to do. You're going to see a trend here, and I do think the trend is 100% real. I'm going to do my personal mock draft maybe tomorrow or Friday, so get ready for that. I'm going to do my 7-round mock draft, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. And the trends that I'm seeing is exactly what I've been hearing, and I think it's pretty close to what potentially could happen. But again, this is before NFL free agency. Free agency starts in a week, and after a couple weeks of free agency, then we really can lock down about the NFL draft. I'm thinking about doing a free agency live stream on Sunday. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. I'd love to do a preview because free agency opens up on Monday at noon is when the players can talk to each other. Before we get into this video, do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Why is that? Because I'm almost to 34,000 subscribers, about 130 away. And I would love to hit that mark. And if you're watching this and you're a Lions fan, or you're in general, you like prospects, you might as well go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, do me a big favor and hit that like button. So let's just not even do an intro. We're going to go into Dane Bruglar's mock draft here. This is just the 2 players in the first round and give you my thoughts and if I think this is legit here. I didn't even want to go really special on this video, more just giving an opinion on someone else's mock. And with the number 6 picks, he goes Christian Gonzalez here out of Oregon. I absolutely do believe that this is going to be a target for the Detroit Lions. After the NFL Combine, Chris Gonzalez really showed that, to me, he's CB1 now. His height, his speed, his be able to turn around, locate the ball. I think if the Lions are going to go with, if they're going to stay within the first to 9 picks, potential trade down, that's going to be the guy. I truly do. I think Christian Gonzalez will be the target if they stay with a couple of picks, unless a player falls down that you do not expect, like a Will Anderson or even a Jalen Carter potentially. But here, Christian Gonzalez connected to the Detroit Lions makes a ton of sense. First off, it fills a massive need. And if you were to get him here at 6, but maybe if you do a trade back to 9 or 8, I think it could be legitimately BPA, just depending who else is on the board. But I agree here. I think that's a solid pick for the Detroit Lions at pick 6. You're not going to have an argument with me on this one. Let's continue on here. Who they got at 18. Calijah Kancey. I 110% agree that if he is sitting there to pick 18, the Detroit Lions would draft Calijah Kancey. They may take him even earlier. Hell, they could trade up a little bit, say if they're at 18 and they want to go to 14. I think Calijah Kancey is the perfect defensive tackle for the Detroit Lions. He's very similar to Aaron Donald physically. What he did at the NFL Combine, he blew up. I think he's DT2, right behind Jalen Carter. I think he went above Brian Brzee. I think Kancey is exactly what Brad Holmes would look to draft because, remember, he was part of the Rams organization that went and got Aaron Donald. Now, to compare Calijah Kancey to Aaron Donald, so this guy's going to be Aaron Donald, that's an overstatement. Aaron Donald is a Hall of Fame player, really good, but he has the attributes. He does, and I think the ceiling is extremely high. We heard from Dan Campbell that Levi Onwuzurike is still in rehab. What I was told is probably going to get released with an injury settlement before the upcoming season. You can't rely on Levi Onwuzurike. You need to have an interior presence to make this defensive line work. Truly do. Other players that potentially could be a pick there, Bijan Robinson at 18. I think that's a possibility. I would take probably Kancey over him. More of I think he could be BPA, and he's at a need itself because we definitely need defensive tackle. You could look at linebacker. I don't think Brad Holmes would go that way. I think it's a little too early there. I don't think they'll go edge at 18 unless, again, a player falls unexpectedly. So defensive tackle, running back is probably the route they're going to go, in my opinion. I do love the Calijah Kancey selection here. I think it is exactly what the Detroit Lions need for their football team. Before we go into Jeff Risdon's mock draft, go ahead and grade Dan's mock draft with the 2 picks in the first round, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section below what you grade his mock draft. I'm going to have to go with an A. I think that's, you're literally filling 2 major needs, with the best cornerback in the draft and the second best defensive tackle in the draft. I think it's perfect. It fits exactly the Lions here. I'll go A. Let's go ahead and jump into Jeff Risdon's mock draft. I respect Risdon a lot. Again, go to Detroit Lions podcast. My guy Chris and Riz. Riz is a neighbor. I've been talking to him for years. He's been telling me players would sign with the Lions way before I was doing YouTube, and they did. I respect his opinion quite a bit. He's my go-to guy if I got a question. So when he does a mock draft, I really do pay attention and listen. So let's go ahead and go into his mock draft here. He's got the Detroit Lions taking Christian Gonzalez. Again, he has him staying at 6. I question that. I think the Lions will look to trade out of that selection because I think you can get a Christian Gonzalez even at 8 or 9. But Carolina seems like they're going to jump up all the way into the top of the draft. So it's possible that the Lions wouldn't trade there. But Christian Gonzalez, again, just like we said earlier, is an absolute fit for the Detroit Lions. Solid pick for sure. He's got Keion White, defensive line, going from Georgia Tech. I don't know what other defensive tackles he had here. If Calijah Kancey's on the board, I have him higher than White. It just depends. It doesn't say who else is on the board. I don't know they would go this route with him. I think they'd probably go Bijan Robinson over him. I understand it. It's definitely filling a need here. He is a powerful defensive tackle, big body. Again, he's not an Aaron Donald type. He's 6'5", 285, so he's a little bit bigger, but he would feel really good next to Aleem McNeil, who is the bigger defensive tackle. Then you can rotate him out with Joshua Pascal and everybody else on this defensive line, Isaiah Buggs. So I get it. I would go a different route, but I totally understand it. Let's continue here. Trenton Simpson, linebacker, round 2. We're seeing a trend here with Trenton Simpson falling in the second round. I'm starting to believe it. I think the Detroit Lions love Trenton Simpson. They've had him for an interview. I love Trenton Simpson. He's my LB1. If he's sitting at the Lions in the second round, you got to run and take him. In this mock draft, you filled cornerback, linebacker, defensive tackle. You're all better on 3 phases of this football team. I believe he is an actual target for the Detroit Lions. I believe the Lions would take him if he's sitting there in the second round. Other players you got to look at in round 2 if Trenton Simpson's not there, because he is my LB1. Number 2 would be Jack Campbell. Number 3, Drew Sanders. I think those are options. Also, they did talk to Noah Sewell. Again, I think Noah Sewell is probably like a 3rd-round prospect, in all honesty. A lot of good linebackers in the second round. Trenton Simpson would be a phenomenal pick. He can play all over the defense. He's universal. He can attack you like Michael Parsons when you want to do a blitz. He can cover well. Linebacker is very fast, speedy. He can play safety. This guy is a very good player. Love him to be on this football team. This would be an A-plus pick to me. Let's continue on here. Hendon Hooker, quarterback, at pick 55. I've been saying this for some time, folks, that Hendon Hooker is the quarterback the Lions could target at pick 55. It was not just from Risdon that's told me this. I've heard it from multiple people that he would be the target in round 2. He would have been a first-round pick if it wasn't due to his injury. He is better to me than Will Levis. The only difference really is his age. He's 25 years old, so extremely accurate. And he wouldn't need to back up Jared Goff as a number 2 immediately. You can go ahead and go into free agency, get yourself a QB2. You can draft Hendon Hooker until he's ready. He can take over later down the road. We don't know exactly what Jared Goff wants in a deal, so if Jared Goff wants a massive contract when it's time to negotiate, you could trade him away to a team that needs a quarterback, or if Hendon Hooker's doing really good and you want to keep Jared Goff, you can trade him away for future assets. It locks down the quarterback position. I concur this is a legit pick for the Lions in round 2. Let's continue on here. Zach Charbonnet, running back, USCLA. I love Charbonnet. He's my RB2. Physical running back, big back. He reminds me of Arian Foster quite a bit. We have not signed Jamal Williams back yet. We don't believe that DeAndre Swift's a future running back. Charbonnet would be perfect for Detroit. He would absolutely be a pounder. You need to get those crucial yards. Charbonnet is going to do it. If he falls the 3rd round, that's called a value pick. I have a 2nd round grade on him. I love this selection. Perfect. The Lions are not just going to go defense. They are going to fill in the offense. We do have needs on the offense. Charbonnet fills a need, and it gives Jared Goff another pounder in the run game. I love that pick. Okay, that's it here. So I love this mock draft. To me, the defensive tackle, I'd probably go Calijah Kancey. Other than that, I'm going to give this one an A-. I think it's a really good mock draft. Let me know in the comment section what you think of this mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments below. With that said, folks, adios.